Sanctuary cities have become a hot-button issue in recent weeks. The term sanctuary cities generally applied to communities which shelter people in this country who are here illegally. While Donald Trump gained a lot of attention calling for an end to the practice, not to mention rounding up all the illegal immigrants in the nation, fellow GOP hopeful Bobby Jindal has taken up the cause as well, saying this earlier this week on Herald Radio.
What I've proposed is a partners in crime package that says hold the mayors, hold the local leaders accountable. They should be criminally as well as civilly liable as accomplices if they adopt policies, if they choose to ignore federal law.
Now, shortly after that, Somerville Mayor Joe Curtatone took to those same airwaves, and given he's one of the 6 in the state that are considered sanctuary cities, he expressed thanks he hadn't been yet arrested, then compared Jindal, he did, to this guy.
Would you like to dance, Miss Jane?
The lovable but inept Gomer Pyle, originally of the Andy Griffith Show, joining me now to elaborate while he's still free is Somerville Mayor Joe Curtatone. Mayor, good to see you.
Good to see you. I should apologize to Gomer Pyle.
Exactly. So 6 sanctuary cities here, about 200 nationally. Why should any city be a sanctuary city? Why not cooperate with federal immigration authorities?
Well, we do cooperate with federal agencies. We work closely with them, but sanctuary cities evolved mostly in the late 80s. Somerville's been a sanctuary city, Jim, since about 1987, and we did so to break down walls between us and an incredible historic influx of undocumented immigrants, to earn the trust, to help them work with us, to engage with city leaders in the community, to make a better city for all.
Yeah, but while you're ripping down walls, whatever expression you use, between those people in this country illegally, and you're creating walls between you and the federal people, as imperfect as their performance is, who are trying to enforce the laws. I mean, if every city decided, here is how I'm going to handle this issue separately, there'd be utter chaos, wouldn't there?
Well, let's clarify. We do enforce the laws, Jim, in Somerville. You break the law, we're going to investigate, we're going to arrest you, we're going to turn you over to the proper prosecutors and pursue the case to the fullest extent of the law.
But that's not totally true. If you break the law,
yeah,
and correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, and you're arrested, but then you post bond, and in the interim, the federal immigration authorities say, please hold that man or woman for an additional 48 hours. You won't do it, correct?
That's not correct. Let me clarify.
Okay.
San Francisco, we would have turned that person over. If you committed a felony.
San Francisco, the guy who killed the 32-year-old woman, 5 times
right,
deported, and ultimately they released him, and he ultimately
you would have been held. You've been reported to the federal agencies, the proper federal authorities. If you commit a violent act, we're talking about. Let's distinguish what happened. We're talking about not profiling, not stereotyping and questioning people on their immigration status.
Yeah, but where was that wrong? Where was that wrong? If that person is arrested for a crime, but he or she posts bail or is released by the judge, if in the interim the federal immigration authorities say, City of Somerville, please hold that person an extra 48 hours, I am correct, aren't I? You will not hold them.
If it's a blind detainer.
What is a blind detainer?
A blind detainer says just in the warrant management system to be held. The federal authorities can seek the proper warrant for that person to be held. We will do so. But
if there's a warrant,
if there's a justified warrant. But the courts have upheld our position, Jim. The courts have said the federal practice under the old Secured Communities Program, which is now defunct, was a violation of the Fourth Amendment. We're talking about upholding the principles and the basic tenets of our Constitution. And what we have found, since Somerville's been a sanctuary city, crime has been down 41%. And since we declared...
Do you think it's because it's a sanctuary city?
Because we have embraced an approach to really enact and have effective community policing. That means engaging everyone in the community, no matter what your status is. And we found time and time and again, people wouldn't report crimes, even when they were victims or they were witnesses to crime, for fear.
If they were worried,
for fear about being asked about their immigration status. And the data and the study shows that undocumented males are less likely to commit crimes than males who are citizens in this country.
Yeah, but explain to me again, admittedly it was in San Francisco, which is a sanctuary city. How would that have been different in your situation? He was charged with a serious federal crime. He was ultimately released, and there was not a warrant from what I understand in that situation. So you would have released the same person had he been originally under federal charge and then released in Somerville. Same deal.
Not necessarily. He had a history of felonious records, this individual. All right? They knew who this person was. They didn't follow up. I mean, they had some heads up from a federal agency regarding his immigration status. In that case, we would have dug in deep into what was happening with this individual. We would have just released him. And I want to just state, on this issue here, which really got my, raised my ear with Bobby Jindal was, and while I took the shots, I did not to be comical, but it was so absurd. I had to laugh. This is a much more complex issue. and most people understand this no matter where you stand in the aisle, in the red or the blue section. It's not as simple as classifying a horrendous result of a broken immigration system where our borders are not secured and someone lost their life. And we should now paint and cast a dispersion on more than 11 million people in our country. I mean, that's not what we're about. Bobby Jindal was simply trying to incite the mob. Sanctuary cities, in of themselves, they don't raise crime. People don't come here to commit crimes in this country.
Understand,
they come here to better their families.
So assuming, Mr. Mayor, for the time being that Congress is not going to do what I think virtually everybody in America thinks they should do, regardless of their point of view, which is do something on immigration, what do you recommend to fellow mayors? That they all follow your lead and they too decide that the way to break down the barrier and to ensure that crime goes down, that becomes a sanctuary state, a sanctuary nation? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes, and here's what I would say. I'd invite, as I did Bobby Jindal, anyone running for any office, any mayor, any leader, wherever you are on this issue, take a walk with me around my community. Meet my police chief, my officers, the residents, the businesses, and see how we grow a healthy, productive community. Crime is down to historic lows. People are engaging me as an elected official, our police officers. That doesn't mean we don't have crime in our city. But we have the greatest amount of participation because we've earned the trust and respect of everyone in the city. 1/3 of my population is foreign born. We speak 52 languages. I can't lead and grow a city on my own. We can't do it by ourselves unless everyone has an opportunity to work with us and feels comfortable doing so.
You even old enough to remember Gomer Pyle? I don't think so.
I do remember Gomer Pyle, absolutely.
Joe Curtatone, it's good to see you. Thank you so much. Mayor of Somerville.